Would you dare to remove an arrow from your leg with a pair of pincers just like the one seen here? This is a Roman doctor treating a soldier back in 25 BC. The early Roman hospitals were among the most advanced of that time. Even though Roman medicine was religiously motivated, it served as a foundation for understanding the science of medicine and surgery. Romans organized one of the greatest and most advanced medical systems in the ancient world. This was possible only because they collected and implemented information from the medical texts and methods of the conquered civilizations, like Greeks, Egyptians, Persians, and Etruscans. History of hospitals in ancient Rome. The concept of hospitals originated in Rome, especially for wounded soldiers of the military. Although before this, care asylums existed in Rome where the severely ill or injured were quarantined or kept away from the general public. The Roman army became the world's strongest army as they had the advanced military hospitals of that time. The prevalence of superstitious junk science diminished. The Roman medicine became more scientific. The medics were more vigilant and diligently recorded every therapy that worked, and this information was passed on to the next doctor to be effectively used. Greek medicine had a significant impact on Roman medicine. The first doctors to arrive in Rome were Greeks taken as prisoners of war. Later, Greek doctors migrated to Rome as they got higher pay than in Greek cities. Romans had access to Alexandria's libraries and institutions after seizing it. Alexandria was a large educational library that housed innumerable volumes of medical literature. Doctors were permitted to do autopsies, which led to many major medical discoveries. Roman medicine was similar to that of Hippocrates' writings and the Greek theory of the four humors. Not only that, but Romans also adopted many Greek religious beliefs into Roman medicine. Ancient Roman medicine was a combination of physical techniques using various tools and holistic medicine using rituals and religious belief systems. Priorly, it was believed that diseases were sent by God because of sin and wrong deeds of the people. Thus, early Romans performed rituals and spells on the patients to get rid of diseases. Since many diseases sooner or later went away, they believed they had managed to please the gods by performing the correct religious or spiritual acts. Opening of the first hospital. Emperor Augustus instituted the first Roman medical service, and by bestowing land titles, dignified honors, and special pension rewards on the physicians, the profession rose from obscurity to respectability. It also helped that future medical professionals would be obliged to train at the new Army Medical School and would not be able to practice until they passed. This boosted treatment success rates. During the war, each regiment had separate teams of doctors and nurses. Hospitals were constructed near the war zone that could accommodate 300 to 400 wounded soldiers. These medical units were highly organized and followed the same strict discipline as the Roman soldiers. They also had a well-defined hierarchy. The army head ensured that physicians documented everything and shared their knowledge with fellow doctors. Military doctors were paid better than regular soldiers. They also had a release from the ordinary military tasks. These medical units were called the immunes. During a battle, Roman military hospitals were stationed near the field headquarters to assist wounded troops as soon as possible. Some troops were tasked with riding along the front lines, collecting up wounded veterans and transporting them to safety. They were called Capari. These medically trained troops would provide first aid to war veterans that would stop heavy bleeding. Then these injured veterans were brought to nearby hospitals and treated by medical specialists. Military doctors categorized the wounded veterans at the hospital before treating them. This classification of wounded people was based on their need for medical intervention. Only in the 19th century, beginning with Napoleon's army, the concept of categorization was implemented in modern times. With proper vigilance and organized work, the Roman military hospitals saved over 70% of wounded veterans. This dramatically reduced death casualties and also improved army morale. Hospital structure in ancient Rome. Surprisingly, ancient Roman medicine was amazingly similar to that of the 1800s. Just as today, ancient Roman medicine was also divided into specialties such as general practitioners, medical specialists, and gynecologists. Only appropriate professionals were allowed to perform surgical duties. A doctor's toolkit in ancient Rome was similar to that of modern-day doctors and included tools like forceps, pliers, scalpels, blades, tubes, and even pluckers. Advanced medicines in ancient Rome. Ancient Roman doctors used a variety of medicines and sedatives during surgery, including extracts of opium flowers and gypsum weed seeds. These medicines were tried in the war on injured and sick troops by Roman physicians who filtered through and selected the treatments and procedures with the most effective results. Furthermore, the Roman bureaucracy ensured that the cures were documented and taught at medical school. Would you believe that Romans also used several germ-killing procedures? They boiled their tools before using them and would not use the same tool on a patient without reboiling it. Wounds were cleaned with acetone, which was a better antiseptic than Joseph Lister's carbolic acid, which was utilized later in the 19th century. Medical procedures and hospitals of ancient Rome. It was public knowledge in ancient Rome that arteries and veins transported blood. To stop blood flow, all surgeons were familiar with splints, arterial clips, and ligatures. Amputation was also performed to escape fatal gangrene. Over time, Roman combat medics developed ways to prevent a variety of military epidemics. They did this by locating forts away from insect-infested wastelands. They also put up drains and sewers to keep sewage away from the guys. Just like we do in the modern era, they also built hospitals with specialized rooms for different duties and segregation of certain patients from others to limit disease spread. Central heating systems as well as adequate ventilation were provided to the patients. Legacy of ancient Roman hospitals. Did you know that these Roman hospitals played a significant role in modern-day medicine? In the 1st century CE, Aulus Cornelius Celsus published an encyclopedia that featured a section on medicine. Of the whole encyclopedia, only the 7th book, De Medicina, survived. He separated food into 2 categories, one which cooled the patient's gut like lettuce, cucumber, cherries, and vinegar. Another category was which heated the patient's gut like pepper, salt, onions, and wine. Celsus got angry with people seeking treatment and emphasized the benefits of leading a healthy lifestyle. Scribonius Largus of Sicily was a physician and Emperor Claudius's escort during his 43 BC expedition to Britain. He was an evolutionist who wrote compositiones on pharmaceuticals of the period. In his writings, he also gave the recipe for an ointment for arthritis, a plant-based possible cure for snake bites, and using turtle or dove's blood for treating epilepsy. Soranus of Ephesus was a gynecologist, and in his gynecology he advised midwives and wet nurses to be literate, sober, and discreet. He also trained them theoretically as well as practically. Soranus studied in Alexandria, practiced in Rome, and was also a part of the popular Methodist group. Galen of Pergamon was a great scholar who began his career at a gladiator school and went on to become a prolific writer of medical dissertations. His writings were translated into many other languages, including Hebrew and Armenian. His famous works include Prognosis, in which he offers guidance to new mothers. Being skilled enough, he also added comments of the Hippocratic corpus and advised soaking bandages in wine to sterilize them. In his book, Examinations of the Best Physicians, he provided guidelines on how to find a good doctor. Galen worked extensively to expand his knowledge by performing autopsies and also was a supporter of the Hippocratic theory of 4 senses of humor. Pedanius Dioscorides was a Greek botanist, pharmacologist, and physician who worked in Rome during Emperor Nero's reign. He rose to fame as a Roman army doctor. He compiled a 5-volume pharmacopoeia titled De Materia Medica that included over 600 herbal remedies. This was his most influential medicinal compilation. Even today, medical studies are incomplete without studying the De Materia Medica. This book has remained influential for 2,000 years. In ancient Rome, medical science flourished in an atmosphere fostered by Roman administrative ability, practical approach, and strict discipline. The hospitals of ancient Rome were ahead of their time in many ways. Their success in treating injured troops was only equaled in the 19th and 20th centuries, nearly 2,000 years later. That's all for now. See you in the next video with another interesting topic.